Words are your best, most powerful grief support tool. It is not because they fix shit. It is because they do something even more important. They create connection and safety and a sense of belonging in the awfulness of life after loss. Hi there, grief growers. I am delighted to be here with you as always. If you have been growing alongside me for a while, welcome back. And if you are new to me and my work, hello. My name is Shelby Forsythia. I am a grief coach, 3-time author, and the founder of Life After Loss Academy. I have had the distinct honor of helping thousands of grieving people across 10 years of grief coaching stop feeling lost, stuck, broken, and alone, and start building lives that they truly love from the lives loss forced them to live. This includes not only death-related losses, but also losses like divorce and breakup, major diagnosis, and every other loss that could possibly change your life. Here on Grief Grower, we believe that grief is not something we get over. It is something that we grow with and alongside, and that when we stop treating grief like a problem to be solved and start treating it like an invitation to live more deeply, we can create meaningful lives that are rich with the memories that we carry, the struggles that we faced, and the precious awareness of what it is to be alive right here and right now. Before we get into today's episode, which is number 7 in my Supporting Someone series, a reminder that release day for my 3rd book, Of Course I'm Here Right Now, 3 actually helpful things to say to someone grieving, is coming up so soon on March 31st. This little guidebook teaches you how to support a grieving person in your life with the best free tool that any of us has, and that is our words. So you will never enter another conversation with someone who's grieving wondering, what do I say to comfort them? As an author, pre-orders, of course, are super helpful when it comes to getting the book seen by bookstores and grievers and the marketing powers that be, so you can find a link to pre-order your copy in the show notes. If you have already gotten a copy of the book, you can submit your receipt number from Bookshop or Amazon or Barnes & Noble or your local indie bookstore on my website to access the free 6-week book club where we will read Of Course I'm Here Right Now in its entirety and discuss it together as a group. This book club kicks off in mid-April, so make sure you have the book before then. And if you'd like to celebrate the launch of this book with me, I am hosting 2 launch parties that I would love to see you at. The first one is taking place the eve before the book comes out on March 30th here in Chicago. There will be treats, there will be flowers, there will be an author talk by yours truly, and an interview by my friend Evelyn Washkovic, who hosts the podcast Success Rewritten. I would absolutely love to see you there and sign your book, and a book is included with your ticket. The second launch party is on the day the book comes out, March 31st, on YouTube. So no matter where in the world you live, you can tune in to hear more about the clients and interactions that inspired this little grief book about what to say to someone grieving, plus hear me read excerpts live and take your questions about what to say to someone grieving in your own life, even and especially if you are a grieving person supporting someone else who is also grieving. And of course, the replay of that virtual event will be available if you cannot attend live. You can save your spot for both of these book launch parties at the link in the show notes. Let's get into the topic of today's episode, which is all about yet another way you can support someone who is grieving. And this is, based on my book, Of Course I'm Here Right Now, 6 ways your words can support someone in your life who is grieving. Because when someone you care about is grieving a loss, it is very easy to feel like words aren't going to do anything, or that words fall short of what you want to do, of your intent to comfort them. You might worry that you'll say the wrong thing and end up offending them. You might be afraid that you will make their grief worse or remind them of their loss. Perhaps that you're concerned that you're not qualified enough and that you will get involved in an overly emotional conversation and need some sort of therapeutic or psychologic tools that you don't know how to use in order to support them properly. Suffice it to say, I have heard through the years many reasons that people do not choose to use their words when someone in their midst is grieving. It is very normal societally to hesitate or stay quiet or default to surface level small talk about the weather or sports or life news when grief is in the room. But something I learned after my mom died, and in 10 years of supporting grieving people, is that words, all by themselves, are one of the most powerful tools we have to support someone in grief. Not because they fix anything, not because they take away anyone's pain, but because of what they create in the space between you and the person who is experiencing a loss. And in my book, of course, I'm here right now, 3 actually helpful things to say to someone grieving. In the second chapter of the book, I share what I call the SCRABL structure. Yes, it's a pun about a word game. In a book about how cool words are, I had to do it. SCRABL. It's not spelled correctly, but if you pronounce it phonetically, it's Scrabble. So I went with it. But these are 6 unique ways that words work to support someone who is grieving. So today on the episode, as you learn how to support somebody who's grieving, I'm going to make a case for these 6 different ways that words can support someone in your life who is grieving. And you might resonate with some more than others. And hopefully seeing words through these 6 different lenses will give you the confidence to reach out, whether that's through text or phone or in person, to someone that you know in your life is facing a loss. So let's get to the first one. This is words as springboards, and this is the letter S. Words do not have to be deep or long-winded in order to be powerful. Sometimes their greatest role is simply just opening the door to future conversations. Things like a short text or a gentle check-in or a simple acknowledgement of your grieving friend's loss are all teeny tiny moments that signal, I'm here, I'll continue to be here. Your words become a starting point, an invitation to revisit the topic of grief again and again. And basically, the power of words in this instance is showing that you are open to talking about grief beyond the funeral, beyond the moment of the loss. This could be as small as micro as, I'm thinking of you today. I haven't forgotten that you're grieving. Or, I'm here for you, even as the rest of the world keeps going like nothing happened. You are not just offering words for this interaction or this conversation, what's happening right now. You are also creating space for the next one. You are indicating, you're sending up a flare that says, I am a person it is safe to talk about grief with right now, or springboarded into the future. Let's move to the second one. This is words as community, C. Loss can make grieving people feel like they no longer belong, whether belonging to their families or friend groups or workplaces or spiritual groups or community organizations. And in a world that often rushes people to move on and get over it, your words can quietly push back against that societal pressure. When you speak to someone's grief without trying to minimize or rush it, you remind them, you still have a place here. Your grief is safe with me. So this could look like or sound like, you have lost so much, you will not lose me. I, or we, if you're speaking as an organization or like a house of worship or something like that, don't expect you to get over this. That's not an expectation that we have. You could say, I'm not scared of you or your grief. I'm sticking around for the long haul. By using words in this way, words as community, language becomes a form of inclusion, a way of saying you do not have to hide this part of yourself to continue to belong here. And that is so powerful for grieving people to hear. Number 3 is one of my favorites, words as refuge, the letter R. Kind words in and of themselves, with no other gesture of support, can feel like a soft place to land. When someone is grieving, their inner world can feel chaotic or disorienting, even unsafe. But language, specifically language that is steady and compassionate and emotionally validating, all language I teach inside, of course, I'm here right now, this can provide a kind of pop-up shelter, like a pop-up tent in the storm of grief, where your grieving friend can rest and just like take a breath for a minute. And in the book, of course, I'm here right now, I write, when your grieving person hears words that make them feel seen, heard, and understood, they may feel lower stress, decreased isolation, and an increased sense of psychological safety. These are all very good things to experience when it feels like one's world is falling apart at the seams. And here's some example scripts that can offer words as refuge. I can see why you would feel that way. Of course, your reaction makes sense to me. And you don't have to prove or justify your grief when we're together. I don't know if as you're listening to this, there's just sort of like like a settling of, oh, good. I don't have to pretend here. I don't have to be anything else here. My emotions make sense to someone else here. That is such a powerful way to provide words as refuge when you are speaking to someone who's grieving. This is what your words can offer: a moment of relief, a soft place to rest, even if they are just taking a breath or two. Number 4 is a little bit more universal, and that is words as air, the letter A. Just like air, words are always available to you, which cannot be said for other forms of grief support gifts like casseroles or flowers or gift baskets or gift cards. Words transcend, they go above, financial or cultural or logistical barriers, things that stop you from offering support. And they are also free and portable, whether you are supporting someone in person, like at your workplace, or across hundreds of thousands of miles. You could send a message, or you could leave a voicemail, or you could just say a sentence or a phrase to someone in passing. These small little offerings of language are one of the most accessible ways for you to show up for someone in grief. It costs you almost nothing to use words, and it requires almost nothing of your grieving person to receive them. It is like the lowest lift ever for both of you with the biggest impact. And like breath, words are simple and ever present. This might look like saying or sending a message like, I saw this and thought of you. Or you and your person who died are on my mind today. So like you and your dad are on my mind today. Or, I imagine this time of year is hard since your loss. Insert loss here. I am holding you in my heart. Like the air we breathe, words that provide comfort in grief are truly available to us in every moment, on every medium, at every time of day. And that is one of the reasons why I love them so freaking much. Number 5 is words as bridges. B. Grief changes someone's world in an instant. We all know that. And when there's nothing you can physically do to fix their loss or to assuage their broken heart, it is enormously easy as a supporter to feel helpless in the face of their loss. And of course, I'm here right now. I write a person's heart, a griever's heart, breaks their neighbor's heart too. It is hard for us to see someone we care about suffering in the face of grief. And I write in another section of course, I'm here right now, their loved one cannot be brought back to life. Their spouse cannot uncheat. Their diagnosis cannot be made to magically disappear. This crucial, tender season of a griever's life is where words matter most. And the cool thing about language and words is that they become a bridge between you and the person who is grieving. They are a way to stay connected across an experience that you cannot fully share because you don't know what it's like to be in their shoes all the way. And it's also an experience you cannot fully solve. So statements that illustrate words as a bridge could be, I know I can't fully understand, but I'm here with you through it. Or, right now, there's a hell of a lot on your plate, and I can see how hard you're trying to make it through each day. Or, I may not have faced a similar loss, but I care about you, and your feelings make sense to me. Through words and phrases like this, your griever can bring you, as if across a bridge, their anger, their heartbreak, their confusion, and trust that you will meet them there. It is as if you are creating an invisible highway of care between the two of you, and your bridge to your grieving friend is strengthened each and every time you enter into any sort of conversation with them. And having that kind of strengthening happening at a time when their world is crumbling is so incredibly powerful. The last one, and this one is more future-oriented, is words as lampposts. L. Long, long, long after the initial wave of outreach after a loss, words stick around. Words linger in long-term memory. They echo or reappear to grievers in quiet moments in their dark nights of the soul. Words become something that your grieving friend returns to again and again. And of course, I'm here right now and I'm talking about the SCRABL structure, why words are so important. I write, many grievers report feeling cared for in the immediate aftermath of a loss when they're swimming in casseroles and peace lily plants. But grievers also report a steep drop-off in that feeling of care when those initial gestures aren't followed up by words. The supporters whom grievers most often remember and choose to nurture lasting relationships with are the ones who offer kind words and check-ins, both in the short and long term of the timeline of their losses. So these kind words that follow the casseroles and the peace lily plants might look like, "It's okay that this loss has changed your life." That would echo with me if someone ever said that after my mom died. I wish they had. Another one I wish someone would have said because it would have stuck in my mind: "This is your grief, and you can do it your way." A permission-granting statement about how grief is going to go. Or maybe, "I don't expect you to be okay or normal. What happened was not okay or normal." What a validating thing to sort of adhere to a grieving person's brain so that they can recall it again and again. A sentence that you say today to someone who is grieving might become something your griever carries with them months or even years from now. This could be to them a small light in the dark, or a steady presence in isolation, a reminder of compassion that didn't disappear when everything about their life changed. That is what it means to have words as lampposts, as guiding lights in grief. I said it once, I said it many times, I'm going to keep saying it again. Words are your best, most powerful grief support tool. It is not because they fix shit. It is because they do something even more important. They create connection and safety and a sense of belonging in the awfulness of life after loss. Regardless of if you're a griever or a supporter of someone who's grieving, if you have ever held back because you were afraid of saying the wrong thing, or you were worried about getting in too deep with a grieving friend, consider this your invitation to try anyway. Your words do not need to be perfect. They just need to be compassionate and validating and honest. Steal these scripts. I just gave you 18 of them in this episode based on the SCRABL structure, 3 for every one of the 6. And if you would like to read even more about the SCRABL structure, I go into way more detail, and of course I'm here right now, about the 6 roles of words and grief, and deep dive into the SCRABL structure. You can order, of course, I'm here right now, where I will walk you through it step by step. You will learn language and how to use words in a way that truly supports all the people in your life you care about, whether these are friends, family, coworkers, neighbors, or clients that you are supporting, especially if you are a grief professional or someone who faces the public every single day. I have heard from people who are hairstylists and massage therapists and hotel check-in people and florists like me, and so many other service professions who are like, I interact with the public and I encounter grief stories more often than I care to admit, and I really want to know what to say. Of course, I'm Here Right Now is the definitive guidebook for what to say, what words to use when anyone in your life, anyone in your orbit is grieving. The phrases and the scripts inside of it are designed for all types of losses and all time frames since the loss. So regardless of whether you're supporting a grieving friend after the death of a parent, a coworker navigating a new diagnosis, a family member going through divorce, a stranger who sits in the back of the Lyft that you are driving for work, it is a framework that will be useful to you. And you can find and pre-order Of Course I'm Here Right Now wherever you buy books. It comes out on March 31st, 2026, so if you are listening to this after the fact, congratulations, go get it. It is available anywhere in the world where books are sold. I hope it empowers you to feel confident in using words to comfort someone in your midst who is grieving. That's all for this episode of Grief Grower. Thank you so very much for joining me today. If you're looking for grief support beyond the show, you can find free workshops, blog articles, and my new What's Your Grief Supporter Strength quiz at shelbyforsythia.com/links. And if you'd like to get support from me for your unique loss experience, join us anytime in Life After Loss Academy, my online course and community. As a student, I'll walk you through my 5-step grief framework, GRIEF, for rebuilding after loss, and you can get live coaching from me every single week to answer your questions. Replays of those sessions are always available if you can't attend live, and it's just $33 a month to join, or $22 a month if you're a marginalized or financially stressed griever. You can cancel your membership at any time. If this podcast felt validating, comforting, educational, or otherwise helpful to you, please subscribe and leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And be sure to share Grief Grower with a friend, because you never know what someone you love is going through. Grief Grower is hosted by me, Shelby Forsythia, and the theme music is composed by our own Addie Goldstein. Until next time, I see you, Grief Growers. I am so proud of you and the work that you're doing in the world. And I love you. Because even through grief, we are growing.